What's up everybody, I'm Matt Brody and this is Simply Must Go, and today I am at camp and it is sweltering hot. It is like 97 degrees in Florida and I decided to go camping. I have no idea why I'm doing that, but it's the perfect opportunity to talk to you about something that I just got from Camplux, which is this brand new tankless gas hot water heater that lets me take nice showers at camp, and I'm super excited to test it out because I'm gonna need it after today. All right, so I'm just gonna keep this turned on its side. Normally it's gonna be mounted or hung this way, but because of all the hoses in the bottom, it's gonna be easier to sort of stand up and show you kind of what I'm talking about, leaving it here. I'm gonna go through all the stuff, then we're actually gonna hang it up and I'm gonna take a shower. So anyway, Camplux makes a couple of versions of this. There's a white one and a black one, and then on top of that you get ones that you can pick sort of a pump version, which means you can pump from a water source that you bring, which is really what you're gonna need if you're going camping like I am, like when you're out overlanding, you're gonna need to have a water source. It does have the option of having a long sort of hose that you can throw into like a lake or something like that. But generally speaking, for me, I'm gonna be bringing my own water source to use this, so I need the pump version. There's also another version that does not have the pump, and that's basically if you're gonna be like in an RV or something, there's water hookups, or even at your house, you can hook it up directly to something like a hose and get water that way. So there are two versions of that to sort of be aware of as you're looking at this, but they all rely on the same basic design. But I chose the black one just because I like the aesthetic of it. It's not very heavy, as you can see. It's also not very large, which is nice because obviously when we're overlanding, we put a lot of stuff in our rigs, and so having something that's too big, too cumbersome, not gonna work out real well. So you've got two settings on the actual tank here. The first one here is for the gas. So the more gas, the hotter it's gonna get, right? And then you also have a maximum and minimum in terms of the flow of water that's going to be coming out. So you can kind of minimize that. So in my case, because I'm bringing my own water source, I'm probably gonna leave it over at minimum because this thing will actually run through a good bit of water pretty quickly because it's also designed for running through a hose when you're not worried about water. So I'm gonna keep it on the minimum setting, generally speaking, for my applications here. So pre-attached to the actual water heater is gonna be your propane tank line. That's already gonna be attached when you get it in the box. And then you're also gonna get a red hose, which is going to be for your sort of hose shower kind of nozzle. So this is your out, right? And then of course, if you get the one with the pump, you'll also get two blue lines. One blue line will go from your water source to the pump, and then one line will go from the pump into the unit itself. What's also really cool is they give you a nice long 12-volt adapter that you can use to plug this into the vehicle. I've got a 12-volt in the back of the Jeep, which is going to be ideal for this. So I can run the pump directly from the 12-volt and then not have to worry about anything else. But if you're not really a 12-volt kind of person, they also give you battery clips, or alligator clips as they're called, that you can use. That cable is a little bit shorter, just so you know. You don't get quite as much cable with that, but that is an option, and they include it in the kit with it as well. And this pump, you basically stick in between the two lines and turn it on, and it's going to suck water out and push it through, heat it up, and then push it out this red hose. And last but not least, you're also going to get all of your hose connectors and quick releases, which are really nice to have, so you can set this up to be a kind of a quick release system. All right, so I'm going to walk you through exactly how to get this set up and get it running. So step one is there's a hanging bar in the back that you can use to attach it or hang it somewhere. There's also places where you can hook it in if you're gonna sort of mount it more permanently. My plan is actually just to hang it right here from the awning. This awning is super strong, and so it's not gonna have any problem holding that, so I'm just gonna hang it directly from the awning. That way all of my lines are free and aren't getting crimped by standing it up on a table or something like that. And to hang it, I'm just gonna use these gear ties, and I'm just gonna kind of come up and twist. And we're just gonna do the same thing on the other side. There we go, it's hanging up. One thing you're gonna know is this is for 2 D-cell batteries. So before you get out on the trail and you start setting this up, make sure you've read the instructions and you have your D-cell batteries. Otherwise, you're not gonna get a nice shower. So what's cool about this too is that it actually has little clips in here that hold the batteries. So if this pops open, the batteries just aren't gonna fall down to the ground. Really nice design that I don't know I've heard a lot of people talk about, but I really appreciate that. So now that we got this hanging and the battery in, I'm just gonna take the propane side and I'm gonna attach it to my propane tank. I think it's important to note here that you don't need a giant propane tank for this. I only use a big propane tank because my grill takes propane and so does my fire pit. And so being able to have one giant unit for everything that I know is gonna last is what I do. So under the hot water heater, you'll notice that they have clearly marked where each of the hoses go. So you have your water inlet and your water outlet. All right, so I'm gonna start with the water outlet, which is gonna be my red hose. I'm gonna go ahead and put the quick connect on, and hand tighten should be plenty for that. And next we're gonna do our blue hose, which is our intake, basically the same way. And then we'll attach our red line and our blue line. All right, really important note before we go any further, when you first get this, and if you've got the one with the pump and you're setting it up, there are these red caps inside of the pump. And it took me a hot minute to figure out why my pump wasn't working. But when you first get it, you need to take those out just so that you're not blocking everything like I was. So just so you know. Next, we're going to attach our two blue quick connects to the pump. Now I'm going to attach the shower head to the red line. Then we'll attach our blue lines to our pump. Then we're just going to plug in our 12 volt. We'll plug the other side into the pump. And before we put the hose into our water source, we're just going to clip on this little filter. And then we'll put the other side into our water source. In this case, I'm just using one of those blue Walmart jugs. All right, so now all we have to do is flip it on and, oh gosh, that's hot. We're gonna turn it down a little bit. That's warm. That is something else. That is a hot shower. All right, I'm soaking wet now from filming this, so let's shower together. All right, guys, that Camplux shower was absolutely phenomenal. If you're interested in picking one of these up, I will leave a description down below for you. They start off at about $229 and then kind of move up depending on the package that you get. A couple things that I will say about this is if you're going to have it plugged into your vehicle via the DC outlet, it's better to have your vehicle running. It just pushes more amperage. I found that when my Jeep is not running, I don't get quite the same pressure and I don't get quite the same heat. So when the Jeep is running, works out a lot better. So this is a great solution, and I will say it works for overlanding, particularly like this. I'd love for it to be just a little bit smaller, and I'd love for them to create a case, some sort of protective box that you could put this in. A lot of people will use stuff like a Pelican case, and I looked at those, and the trouble with Pelican cases or any of the hard cases that I found is they're either just a little bit too small or they're way too big. There's nothing that seems to really fit this just right that I found. So if you've got something that you found that fits this really well, let me know in the comments down below. Otherwise, Camplux, that's an opportunity for you. Make a cool little carrying case, something that's hard shell that protects it when it's in a vehicle like this, that we can store all the different hoses and accessories and things like that easily. That would be a super huge win. But anyway, if you've got other solutions, or if you've got a trailer and you want to mount this to a trailer, I've seen tons of people have just mounted this like onto the side or inside a trailer or something like that. It would work perfect for that. All in all, I think it's totally worth it, particularly if you're able to bring your own water supply with you. You just can't beat a hot shower at camp. And that's pretty much going to do it for this review of the Camplux. Go out and get yourself one, get a hot shower. Until next time, God bless, and I'll see you on the trails. Peace.